Hello friends, welcome to Exam Decoder. We are continuing with our PT365 series of VISIONIAS. This is Environmental Science module. In this, we have already completed our first topic, that is biodiversity, and we are continuing with the second topic, that is climate change. In the climate change topic, in this video, we will study terms in news. These 9 terms are given. We will see these 9 terms in news. The first here is carbon farming. Second is carbon border adjustment mechanism. Third is Keeling Curve. Fourth is Greenium, that is green premium. Fifth is Teal Carbon. Sixth is representative concentration pathway, that is RCP. Next is water credit. Eighth here is biodiversity credit. Ninth and last point is glacial geoengineering. Let's continue with our topic. Let's see 2.4 terms in news. The first term here is carbon farming. This was in news because European Parliament and European Council recently reached a provisional agreement on regulation to establish the first European Union level carbon removal certification framework. This topic, carbon farming, in itself is important for prelims, but you don't need to remember all these points. You need to understand the term, this carbon farming. What is carbon farming? Let's change the pen first. What is carbon farming? Carbon farming here is a sustainable agriculture practice. What is this? This is actually a sustainable agriculture practice. This is actually, carbon farming is actually a sustainable agriculture practice that aims at reducing GHG, that is greenhouse gases emissions, and increasing the amount of carbon sequestration. What is the purpose? To increasing the amount of carbon sequestration in the soil and the vegetation. So understood? What is carbon farming? Carbon farming is nothing but a sustainable agriculture practices aimed at reducing greenhouse gases emission and increasing the amount of carbon sequestration in the soil and vegetation. You need to understand this term. Okay? Let's see what details here given. About carbon farming, it uses regenerative practices. This is important. This is a regenerative practices to improve agriculture, restore ecosystem, and combat climate change by storing carbon and reducing emission. That is regenerative farming. What are the common methods? Common methods is agroforestry, conservation farming, that is minimizing soil disturbances, integrating nutrient management, renewable energy production, grassland conservation, etc. What is this? This is actually the methods for the carbon farming. Means it can directly be asked, what are the methods for the carbon farming? Like first method is agroforestry. Second is conservation farming, that is minimizing soil disturbance. Third is integrating nutrient management. Fourth is renewable energy production, grassland conservation. Fifth is grassland conservation. You can also add mixed farming. These all are actually methods of this carbon farming. So we can say that this carbon farming is actually a carbon sequestration method. What are the different key initiatives facilitating carbon farming? If you will see in the global level, 4 per 1000 initiative that encourages stakeholders to engage in transition towards the regenerative, productive, and highly resilient agriculture. It was launched during UNFCCC COP21 2015 in Paris, that is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP21 in Paris. Next global initiative is World Bank supported initiative, that is example is given here, Kenya's Agricultural Carbon Project. You must know the Indian initiative. First is Carbon Credit Trading Scheme. We have already discussed this carbon credit in our previous video. Carbon credit is launched by Ministry of Power for trading of carbon credits among obligate entities. Next is National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. It promotes agroforestry, micro irrigation practices, crop diversification by the Government of India, or you can say it is also moving towards the precision farming. Precision farming, to encourage farmers to be the part of the carbon trading in agriculture. Next is carbon border adjustment mechanism. In this Kazan Declaration adopted by BRICS rejected CBAM, that is Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, that is Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism CBAM, calling it discriminatory. What happened here? Actually, the 16th BRICS summit concluded with the adoption of Kazan Declaration. What it is given here? That is Kazan Declaration. This Kazan is the place in Russia. Okay, this is in the Russia. So 16th BRICS summit held in Kazan, Russia. You must be knowing about the BRICS that membership has been changed. Now it is having the 10 members. 5 new members has been added. Okay, then news is about the rejection of CBAM, that is Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. First, see what is written here. It is a European Union policy to impose carbon tax on import of certain products from countries with less stringent climate policies. Like example is given for steel. Next is carbon border tax aims to prevent companies shifting production to less regulated countries. Next is CBAM, implemented in 2023, moves from transitional phase to full enforcement by 2026. Understood? What is this carbon border adjustment mechanism? This is actually a policy tool that introduced by European Union, that is actually introduced by European Union to prevent the carbon leakage and encourage global decarbonization. It is actually a carbon tariff. It is actually a carbon tariff on the imports of certain goods from outside European Union. If something imports in the European Union, the purpose is to equalize the carbon prices between the domestic European Union products which actually pay for the emission under the European Union emission trading system and the imported products. It actually aims to prevent the companies from relocating production to the countries with less climate regulation. That is actually carbon leakage. Here the example is given for steel. This is also for cement, fertilizers, electricity, aluminium, hydrogen, etc. Actually, the rule is if the carbon cost is lower in exporting country, importer must buy CBAM certificates to cover the differences. Got it? Here the other initiatives are also mentioned by EU, that is European Parliament had also approved the Net Zero Industry Act that sets the target for Europe to produce 40% of its annual deployment needs in net zero technology by 2030 based on the national energy and the climate plans. Next is Global Climate Change Alliance. It is an initiative of European Union to build a new alliance on the climate change between the European Union and the poor developing countries. Not all details are important. You must know this carbon border adjustment mechanism. Actually, this is rejected by this Kazan Declaration in the 16th BRICS summit. Okay, next is Keeling Curve. First, see what is this Keeling Curve. Keeling Curve is actually a long-term record of the atmospheric CO2. This is a long-term record of atmospheric CO2 measured at Mauna Loa, that is located in Hawaii. This is the world's largest active volcano since 1958. It shows both seasonal variation and steady increase in CO2 level, serving as critical evidence of anthropogenic climate change. Here it is written global average concentration of carbon dioxide was 4.7. This is wrong actually. This should be actually 427 parts per million. That is actually 0.04% in March 2024. So this is not 4.7, this should be 427 ppm, that is parts per million. 427 parts per million in March 2024, that is higher than March 2023. Significantly large spike in the Keeling Curve. You should know this Mauna Loa, that is in Hawaii. This is important. You should know this Keeling Curve. As I have already discussed, it shows both seasonal variation. Seasonal variation is what? Like Keeling Curve is drawn like this. Okay, like in one season it changes, value changes. It shows both, that is seasonal variation and steady increase. This is the steady increase. Next is Greenium, that is green premium. What is Greenium or green premium? Greenium is actually the blend of words, that is green and premium, and it refers to the lower yield. It refers to the lower yield or lower return that investors accept when buying the green bonds. When buying the green bonds, they accept the lower yield compared to the conventional bonds. I hope you understand. For example, let's take green bond. If the green bond yield is 4.2%, okay, then normal conventional bond or regular bond yield should be like 4.5%. What happened? I told like green bond cost is yield is 4.2%, whereas regular is 4.5%. So the investors are willing to accept the less return in exchange for supporting the environment friendly policy. Let's see here what is given. Indian sovereign green bond hardly receive Greenium for private investors. According to the economic survey of 23-24, green bonds are debt instruments that fund specific projects, activities, categories as green under the national or the international green taxonomies. What is Greenium? About Greenium, it refers to the pricing benefits based on the logic that investors are willing to pay the extra or accept the lower yield in exchange of sustainable impact, that is United Nations Development Program. It is the additional cost of choosing clean technology. It is actually the additional cost of choosing the clean technology over one that emits more greenhouse gases. Understood? Let's move to the next. Next is Teal Carbon. India's first Teal Carbon study undertaken at Keoladeo National Park. Keoladeo National Park is in Bharatpur, Rajasthan. Okay. So what it is given? India's first Teal Carbon study undertaken at Keoladeo National Park. What is this Teal Carbon? First you need to understand. Teal Carbon is actually a new concept that actually refers to the carbon captured and stored by the freshwater ecosystem. That is carbon captured and stored in freshwater system. Okay. So what is this Teal Carbon? This refers to the carbon captured and stored by the freshwater ecosystem. Freshwater ecosystem like what? That is lakes, rivers, wetlands, ponds, etc. Okay. So what here it is given, just read it once. This is about Teal Carbon. It refers to the carbon stored in the non-tidal freshwater wetland. It comprises carbon sequestration in the vegetation, microbial biomass and dissolved and particulate organic matter. Next, it being a color-based terminology reflects the classification of organic carbon based on its function and location rather than its physical property. It means there are different color coding given here. This is based on its function and location. Like for C, purple carbon. What is purple carbon? Carbon captured through the air or industrial emission. Means industrial emission carbon is captured, then it is called purple carbon. What is this green carbon? Which is stored in the terrestrial plants like forest. You can say like forest. If the carbon is stored in the terrestrial plants or vegetation or in the forest, it is called green carbon. What is the black carbon? Carbon released through the burning of the fossil fuel, then it is called black carbon. What is red carbon? Carbon released through the biological particles on snow and the ice that reduce albedo. Next is grey carbon. Carbon released through the industrial emission is called grey carbon. So don't confuse with the word grey and purple. Grey carbon is the carbon released through the industrial emission, and purple carbon is carbon captured through the industrial emission, okay, which is released into the atmosphere through the industrial emission is the grey, and which is captured is known as purple. So more carbon types are also there, like one is also blue carbon. You may heard about this blue carbon. The carbon which is stored in the marine and the coastal ecosystem like mangroves, salt marshes, these are called blue carbon. And here it is teal carbon. Teal carbon, you understood that stored by the freshwater ecosystem. Okay, let's move to the next. Next is representative concentration pathway. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that is IPCC, introduced RCPs, that is representative concentration pathways, in the 5th assessment report. It describes 4 different 21st century pathway of greenhouse gases emission and atmospheric concentration, air pollutant emissions and land use. So understood this RCPs? What is this RCPs? Actually, it is the climate change scenario developed by this IPCC to project the potential future greenhouse gas concentration and that impact on the global warming. Understood? It is actually to project the potential future greenhouse gases concentration and their impact on global warming. Okay, understood this RCPs? It will actually help the policymakers in climate planning and risk assessment. Okay, it will actually help the policymakers in climate planning and risk assessment. Next is about the water credit. It is like carbon credit. Okay, it is actually a market based mechanism similar to the carbon credit, which incentivize the water conservation and the quality improvement. Here it is given about the carbon credit. How carbon credit work? Carbon credit are generated by projects that have reduced or avoided or removed the carbon emission, means which has reduced or avoided or removed the carbon emission. Each credit represents 1 less ton of the carbon dioxide or another greenhouse gas equivalent in the atmosphere. In the similar pattern, individuals and entities can earn tradable credit by adopting water saving measures. These credits can be sold to the other needing to offset their water uses or improve their water management practices. This water credit will help to promote the sustainable access to water. Next is biodiversity credit. First, see the definition. An economic instrument that allows the private companies to finance activities such as the forest conservation or restoration. The purpose is to have a net positive impact on nature and the biodiversity. Unlike biodiversity offset, biodiversity credits are not limited to compensating for the company's negative and unavoidable impacts on nature. So understood this biodiversity credit. This is also called bio credits. Okay, this is also called bio credits. It is nothing but the market based mechanism. As we have studied in carbon credit, water credit, this is again biodiversity credit is the market based mechanism that assigns the monetary value to the conservation or the restoration of the biodiversity. It actually allows the individuals or companies or government to buy and sell the credit linked to the measurable biodiversity outcome. Okay, so it is one of the good steps for the biodiversity conservation and restoration. It will also support the community based conservation. Okay, it will also support the community based conservation. Next is glacial geoengineering. First, understand the term. Here all terms are important. What is the glacial geoengineering? It actually refers to the climate intervention technique that aims to slowing or preventing the melting of glaciers and polar ice, especially in the regions like Antarctica and Greenland. Okay, Greenland. So see what here it is written. It is a deliberated modification of climate system around glaciers to slow the melt of the ice shelf and reduce the sea level rise. How it will be done? So proposed glacial geoengineering strategies, there are two strategies mentioned here. First is ocean heat transport intervention. Second is basal hydrology intervention. What is this ocean heat transport intervention? This is setting sediment burn or fibrous curtains along the seabed in the front of ice shelves to block the flow of warm circumpolar deep water. Next is basal hydrology intervention. It is to slow the flow of steam that carry meltwater off the ice sheets by drilling holes into the glacial beds. It means they will dig a hole in which water will be filled, and that will again form the ice. I think this is the last topic here. Okay, this is the last. In the next video we will see organizations in news. Okay, thanks for watching the video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more content like this.